everyone, it's me again, Brittany, and I'm here today to do my very overdue Q&A answer video. Yeah. Okay, so first and foremost, we need to start off by saying who the giveaway winners were. So we have Luxe and Becca's book club, and you two won. So if you guys, once you see this video, comment down below with your email and I will be able to get in contact with you. So yeah. And remember that you won a book from Book Depository up to $20 US. So yeah. Now I'm just gonna kind of jump right into the video because there's about 200 questions. So yes. The first one is from Coffee and Bookmarks, and she asks how many books I have on my shelf, and honest to goodness, I do not know. I don't track them on Goodreads like that. I just haven't had the time to, so yeah, not a clue, not a clue. We'll figure it out though in my bookshelf tour. Next one is from Books with Brandy Shanae, and it asks, what is my favorite book of all time? I don't have an all-time favorite. I'm very, very bad at picking favorites. I kind of touched on this in my last BookTubeathon vlog, so I'm a big fan of fantasy. From Time and Chance, they ask, are there any YA books you consider pernicious to young readers, especially those 15 and under? Not necessarily. There's no book that I think everyone in the world should have read. I guess, I would go with maybe Harry Potter, just because I think that that book has a lot of really good morals and it shows really good friendships and it's really magical, and I think that everyone should have read it. That way they can experience the magic. From Eliana Rosen, she asks, what do you think the first book was that changed your life as a reader? I guess probably A Series of Unfortunate Events. That's the book that really got me into reading as a child. Like, I didn't really want to read at all until, like, not big books. I like tiny books, and then my dad gave me the Bad Beginning, and that one really set off my reading things. From Lena, she has a few questions. What are your plans for the future? Where do you see yourself and your booktube channel going? Who are your favorite booktubers and who inspired you to start with all of this? My plans for the future. These are a lot of questions. I'm gonna answer one of them just because I feel like there's a lot of these that other people might have asked. So I'm gonna go with who are your favorite booktubers and who inspired you to start with all of this? My favorite booktubers, I have so many. I guess the ones that inspired me to start my booktube channel originally, because again, I did try and do this like 4 years ago. That was definitely like Poland Bananas Books and Katie Tastic and, you know, the big ones. So they really inspired me to start my channel. But I guess my restart, I'm really not sure what inspired me to do it. I just kind of was sitting there at home and I was like, why did I give up on it? And then I just went for it again. From Haley, I have, would you ever think about writing a book? Yeah, actually. So I definitely want to eventually write my own book. And that is probably one of the bigger reasons actually that I did restart my channel, because I knew that if I wanted to write my book, I'm not an English major, so I was like, I want to be getting in as much reading experience as possible, being able to talk about books, being able to see what I like in books. Like, I wanted to get that I just wanted to get used to that, and that's why I started my channel again. From Ariana, I have, if you could only read and reread the same 5 books for the rest of your life, which books would they be and why? 5 books? I guess Court of Security, Empire Storms, and that's weird because Empire Storms. The Deathly Hallows, Nevernight, and Clockwork Princess. I'm very not sure about that, but if I had only those 5 books for the rest of my life, I'd probably be pretty okay. From Lala Loves Literature, I have, I actually knew I wanted to ask you why you started reading. So I started reading because my dad put a book in my hands and he would not let me stop. So that was kind of why. I wish I had a cooler answer. Like, it was, I've just always loved to read because it's an escape. It's definitely an escape. It's why I read fiction and almost completely fantasy, because I love different worlds and I love being in different people's heads, and I love it. From Misty, I have, how do you choose your next read? Are you a mood reader? I am a mood reader. I definitely go off of like It's totally random. I have no idea. Sometimes I'm just sitting here and I'm like, what do I want to read next? And I just know that like I want aspects of the book that I last read, so I try to find something like that, but it's mostly based off of my mood completely. From Chantel, I have, what's a book that you read when you were younger that you still love today? Harry Potter? But I didn't read that young. Yeah, probably Harry Potter. Or The Uglies books by Scott Westerfeld. I loved that series when I was younger, and I still love it today. Like, I'm really excited. He's supposed to be coming out with a new book in the series, or a new book in the world, and I'm very, very excited for it. From Caitlin? Is that how you pronounce it? Are there any books that you would want your boyfriend to pick up? Plenty. I'm not sure exactly what yet. I've been trying to decide what book like I could force him to try and read. I think that he would really enjoy Illuminae, but I also really want him to read the Harry Potter books. He hasn't yet, and me and his sisters have, so I think it would be really fun if he read them. From Maria, I have, how did I first start my channel? And were you nervous when you posted your first video? I first started my channel again 4 years ago, a long time ago, maybe even 5, I'm not sure, but I don't remember too much about it anymore. I just remember like I discovered the booktube community, and then like a month later I was like, I'm gonna start my own channel. Like there was no like slow process to it, and I just really wanted to do it. Like I was like, I can talk about books, I love talking about books, so that was kind of it. And then, was I nervous when I posted my first video? Yeah, probably. I wasn't as nervous though as I thought I would be. I just kind of was like, fuck it. And I just did it, and it was done. So after that, it was just really easy, I guess. From Jess, I got, what got you into booktube and wanting to start your own channel? I kind of just answered that. So from Lynn's, what is your favorite book from the Shadowhunter Chronicles? I want to say Clockwork Princess. That's why I chose it for my like top 5 books, because the Infernal Devices series or trilogy was definitely my favorite so far that was made. Like I am just not as enthralled with like Lady Midnight and, you know, that trilogy as I was with the Infernal Devices. Like, I don't know why. I just love the love story so much more in that book, and that's the only book that I've ever seen like complete a love triangle in a good way. So it was just fantastic. Dangerous Angels 7 asks, how much do you like being a part of the book community? I like it. I just feel like, I mean, it's probably because I'm still pretty new. I just haven't really made any like friends yet. I'm not that close and like involved in the booktube community yet, but I am excited to get there because I think it would be a lot of fun. Elise asks, do you have a favorite classic? No, I'm not a classic reader. I want to be, but I'm not. So yeah, one day when I force myself to start actually reading the classics, I will let you know. Treasure Parker asks, what age did you get motivated to start reading? Probably when I was 6 or 7. I'm trying to remember like when the movie came out for Series of Unfortunate Events. I was always kind of a reader. I loved like the Magic Treehouse stuff and like that, but like actual series reading I didn't start until The Bad Beginning. So whenever that movie came out, because I got the movie edition of The Bad Beginning, that's when I started really reading. Viviana asks, if you had to choose only one book to read for the rest of your life, which one would it be? I know it would be a Sarah J Maas book. I think. Oh my god, I don't know. It might be a Harry Potter book. I'm not sure. That's so hard. It would have to be a last minute decision because I'm a mood reader, so. Addie asks, if you could re-experience a book for the first time, what book would you choose and why? I want to say Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, because I really sped through that book when I first got it, like the day it came out, and I'd love to like re-experience it because that was a really good day, so. Amal asks, what is your top series and fantasy books? Oh, that's a lot. Top series, definitely Throne of Glass, A Court of Thorns and Roses, A Court of Thorns and Roses. The Nevernight series is really great. Harry Potter. I'm answering like the same things for like all my questions, I'm sorry guys. I'm Busy Reading asks, what book series do you feel that you read at the perfect time in your life? And also, how do you feel about the cover reveal for Kingdom of Ash? I guess the book series that came at the perfect time in my life was definitely Throne of Glass. I was very much in need of that kind of story the first time that I picked it up. That's probably why I love it so much. And Kingdom of Ash, I was so nervous about the cover at first. Like, I was looking at it, I'm like, I don't think I like it. But it's really grown on me, and now I love it, and I'm probably gonna own way too many copies of it, so that's life. Brittany asks, what's your favorite genre to read? Fantasy. Fantasy for sure. Danielle asks, why is your favorite genre fantasy? And she goes, I think it is, so why is that? So it's definitely fantasy because, again, I like to read to escape. I totally read just as a form of escape, and I love it. And fantasy is the ultimate escape. That is a completely different world. That's a completely different system of how the world functions. Like, it's just, I always, you know, wished that I had woken up one day and someone had come up to me and been like, oh my god, you're a witch, or something like that, you know? So fantasy. And then she also asked, if you could be any character from any book, who would that be and why? I would be Aelin Galathinius, because she is everything I would want to be. Angela asked, if you had to choose the 3 books that define you, make up who you are, what would they be? So The Bad Beginning, Heir of Fire. I guess I'll have to go with Aragon, which is weird. Paige asks, what is the greatest lesson a book ever taught you? I get this lesson from so many books, but it's just the fact to, like, keep fighting. That no matter how great the odds, no matter how impossible, like, a goal may seem, it's not impossible, and that you'll always, if you just keep going, you're gonna be able to make it there. Malia asks, are there any authors you disliked at first but grew into? I want to say no. I'm normally like one of those people that if I don't like it at first, I'm not going to try another book by the authors. So I just, any book that I haven't liked, I probably didn't continue with the series, and so I didn't grow into the author, which is probably not a good trait to have. Joey asks, if you could change or add something to your favorite book series, what would it be and why? When I saw this question while doing all my editing, I really like thought about it, because there's definitely things that I would want to change, but at the end of the day, the things that I would change would make the story so completely different that I don't want to change it. Like, that's the truest the characters are. Like, I wouldn't want to change anything about it. There isn't anything that I could possibly add that for me would make it better. Like, because then it would be too easy. So I don't think there is anything. I just think that, like, the way the author has written it, it's that way for a reason. Beautiful Parade asks, what made you start your booktube channel? See, I don't know, 2 minutes ago. Betty asks, my question is, what are some of the book quotes that inspire you and pull at your heartstrings? This is such a good question. Oh my god, guys, I'm not even that far in and my camera's already yelling at me. So, definitely from the Throne of Glass series, You Could Rattle the Stars, You Could Do Anything If Only You Dared. Oh god, there's so many. That's the one that always, like, pops in my head first. And then from the Game of Thrones, I haven't read it yet, but I know this quote. A reader lives 1,000 lives. When people say impossible, it probably means improbable. 6 Crows. Okay, one of the ones that I never see on anything but literally tore my heart out when I first read the books. It's from the Shadow and Bone trilogy, and it's I am not ruined, I am ruination, and I want to say it's like Izravska, something like that, but it was like in a different language, but I loved that quote so much. I'm a big quote person. And then Meredith asks, what is your most anticipated release for the rest of the year? Kingdom of Ash. London asks, what book would you read that is outside of your normal reading area? Probably a classic, because I do really want to read classics, but that's definitely not something I read. GGG asks, how did you meet your boyfriend? So, technically, okay, so my best friend, her name's also Brittany. I'll give you a time frame. So, the school year was about to start, it was like August, and she was talking about him, and I had no idea who he was, and she showed me a picture because she was like crushing on him, and I was like, he's so hot. So I was so upset, but she had first dibs, so I like let it slide. But then she got a boyfriend in October. Different boyfriend. And January comes around, and this is just when the Force Awakens had come out. And I went to like a kickback for his fraternity, because I'm in a sorority and he's in a fraternity, and he was there and he was talking to one of his friends about The Force Awakens, and I was like, this is my moment, because, you know, she was done, she was over the crush, and so I was like, alright, and I casually inserted myself in the conversation, and he realized how cool I was. Yeah, that's about it. So Girls Got Games asks, what inspired you to become a booktuber? Kind of answered this one already. Juliana asks, what was the first book that made you emotional or made you put it down and take a minute to sink in? I honestly can't think of the first one. I'm sure there was ones before this, but the Deathly Hallows really... Yeah, I was pretty upset. Jessica asks, what book character do you relate to most and why? I guess I see a lot of myself in Selena. I don't know why. I'm definitely not an assassin, you know, but I have a temper. I can be pretty unreasonable. The way that she sees the world and the way that she reacts to the world is pretty similar to how I would, except, you know, I don't murder people. Like, an extreme version of myself would be Selena. Like, a very extreme version. Melissa asks, what helps you get either out of reading slumps or helps you get motivated to read in the day? So out of reading slumps, I like to read books that I know I love. So when I'm like in a total reading slump, I just go back to the books that I love and like read scenes in it. I will just go back and read the things that I love. Chloe asks, what inspired you to start BookTube? XO Spidey XO asked, like Emma and Michael, do you think you'll do a video where you dress as fictional characters for a week? It's definitely possible. I thought it was super cute when I saw the video, so like, sorry, my eyes are like stinging. But yeah, it's definitely possible. I thought it was really cute. I would just have to go back and like really read through books, which is, because I never remember outfits, ever. Athie Nguyen asks, what is it about fantasy books that you love so much more than other genres, and are you the only reader in your family? So I answered the fantasy one, so I am kind of the only reader in my family. My dad reads, but he definitely doesn't read as much as I do. He just like sticks to like Dennis Lane and Dan Brown and sometimes Stephen King. And my mom, she's not opposed to it, but she definitely doesn't read that much. Like, she used to read with me a lot, like when I was younger, but yeah. Sierra asks, if you had a chance to write a book based on a world that already exists, what world would you choose? I think ACOTAR's world. I think it's super fascinating, just with like all the history in it and all the high fae and like the lower fae and like all that stuff. Like, I just think it's super interesting. Natalie asked, how do you keep yourself motivated to work out? Natalie, I don't. I definitely don't. I am probably the worst person to ask about motivation to go to the gym, so. Lori asks, what book would you love to see made into a movie, TV or movie adaptation? Definitely the Throne of Glass books, but I'm also really nervous about it because like I have such like clear pictures of what I imagine them to look like that I wouldn't want the TV to ruin it. So maybe Nevernight, actually. I think that would be cooler. Trisha asks, what is the first book that captured your heart? Bad Beginning. Olivia asks, what was your very first book you loved? Bad Beginning. Letty asks, how do you find the time to read tons while in university and college? It's hard. I read a lot in class, which I don't recommend, but I'm very much like a person that can't pay attention in class anyways. I normally teach myself outside of class. Like, studying before the test is like one of my favorite things to do, I guess. But I don't learn a lot in class, so while I'm in class, I normally read. Don't do what I do. Delaney asks, are there any books over 500 pages you want to tackle this year or in the future? A ton. I feel like most of the books I read are over 500 pages. So, but definitely Kingdom of Ash, that's totally going to be over 500 pages, and that's what I want to read. Chalice asks, how did you get the courage to post your first video? I didn't need it. I don't know. I was young and naive, and I was like, I'm going to do it. Valeria asks, if you could have dinner with any character and author, who would you choose and why? I feel like I keep talking about this, but Sarah J. Maas and actually Reese. Yeah, if I could have a dinner with Reese and Sarah J. Maas and make Reese forget that he loves Feyre and then make him love me, that would be cool. Jennifer asks, what are some books you recommend to read in the summer? I actually made a summer reading video. I'm not like big on contemporary, and I feel like contemporary is what you should read in the summer. Changed by Books asks, what did you study, are studying? I'm curious. I'm a psychology major with a minor in criminal justice. Caroline, if you had to read only 2 series for the rest of your life, what would they be? I keep talking about Throne of Glass, so I kind of want to not pick that. But it's probably going to be Throne of Glass. and Harry Potter. Belle, what is your ride or die favorite series? Like, if you got stranded on an island and could only pick one series, what would it be? That's hard, but probably Throne of Glass. I don't know how many times I'm gonna answer that. I feel like I should just start skipping the ones I'm gonna answer Throne of Glass to. Madison asks, my question is, what is your favorite book right now? Throne of Glass. No, I'm kidding. God's Grave. I just finished it and it tore my heart open and I loved it. Mandy asks, what's your overall favorite book? I'm really bad at favorites, but at this point I think we should realize that it probably is one of the Throne of Glass books. Gina asks, what is your cat's names? We have Luna, she's my little gray cat. She's named after Luna Lovegood, so there's that. And then there's T'Challa, my black cat. He was named, actually before the movie ever came out, my boyfriend is, you know, he's big on comics. And T'Challa, if you didn't know, is the Black Panther's real name. So, and he's a little Black Panther. So Jessica asks, what is your favorite video to film? My reading vlogs. I love filming my reading vlogs. They're so casual. Like, I would say book hauls, but I get like nervous when I don't know whether I should say a summary or not, so. I don't know, I deleted this person's like name. Sorry. But they asked, if you had to dress like Selena Sardothian for a week, would you wear her fighting gear or her pretty dresses and why? Fighting gear for sure. I'm much more of a comfort over not comfort kind of person. I don't like dresses that much. Like, I've wanted to like them more, but I don't like them. And I normally wear like leggings and workout gear, or just in general I like pants, so her fighting gear would suit me much better. Leah asks, what made you choose to study psychology? I kind of talked about this in one of my videos where I was talking about The Catcher in the Rye, but it was really that, like, the mental breakdown, that process that happens in that book just got me so interested in psychology that I took AP Psych in high school and I passed that test, so I was like, you know what, one class down, so let's just do the rest in college. Mac Books asks, what book really got you into reading and made you want to do booktube? What book got me into reading was The Bad Beginning. What book got me into booktube is, I think, Divergent. I'm actually pretty sure it's Divergent. That's so funny because that's probably the first book that I ever saw on booktube. Amanda asks, what is your biggest fear? I don't really have that many fears. Like, I have very, like, minor fears, but they're things that I can very easily get over. But I guess, like, I don't like heights, but it's mostly because I don't like the idea of falling off of that height. Like, you die, like, right away, so I don't like heights. Dacia asks, what books have changed your life? Definitely the series of unfortunate events. That's what started my reading. I think every book I've ever read has impacted my life in different ways. Probably Throne of Glass, because that book made me realize for the first time that I really did want to be a writer. Probably Catcher in the Rye, since that made me actually want to be in psychology. Oh God, I look like I'm crying now, but like, my eyes are not handling like light today very well, so that's why. Himanshu asks, what is your favorite book that deals with depression and mental health issues or would recommend to anyone? I really like the Ellen Hopkins books. I think those were the first ones that made me like really delve into the world of like mental illness in books. They aren't the best, I think, for people that are dealing with mental illness. I think it's not like one of those stories normally that they pull through in the end. Like, sometimes they do, but it's like other times they can be very, very, very depressing, so I would be careful if you have like a mental illness and you read those, but I love those books. They opened my mind to so many like issues that I had never really even thought of. So The Truth About Books asks, what is your favorite and least favorite part about being a booktuber? My favorite part is definitely being able to talk about books, just like being able to talk to you guys, and like I love like the comment section. Like, I love seeing your comments so much. And my least favorite part, I guess, is the time commitment. Like, guys, it is so hard. It's literally just like back to back always. Like, you're always filming or coming up with video ideas or editing or trying to upload or reading because you need to read a lot. So it's the time is pretty difficult, but everything else, like the payoff is so much greater than that, so I love it. Beaming for Books asks, what is your favorite way to buy books? I online. I love, okay, so actually my all-time favorite way is to be able to go in person to my books and like collect them and then be able to leave with them. But because I don't have the money for that, my favorite way to buy books is online, since they're significantly cheaper through the websites that I use, like Book Outlet and Thrift Books and even Amazon. So Fabiola asks, do you listen to Panic at the Disco? You should watch my Panic, Pray for the Wicked book tag, because yes, I do. I love Panic. I love Panic. I've always loved Panic. Angela asks, how do you manage reading in life? Difficultly. I don't know, honestly. I feel like at the moment I don't have that much going on, so it's a lot easier, but audiobooks, I think audiobooks are the best way, because even when my life is super busy, I can always turn on an audiobook in the car. Tess Avery Books asks, top 5 favorite books / series, favorite edition of Harry Potter, do you want any other pets? I definitely want other pets. I'm a huge dog person, like, which you couldn't tell because I own cats, but like I love dogs. Like I've always loved dogs. I've always had dogs. Favorite edition of Harry Potter? Probably the illustrated ones. No, but in reality, I actually like the new Bloomsbury editions that like the UK has. Those are really, really pretty. I want to get my hands on a pair. It's like the kid ones, not the adult ones. Sarah asks, who inspires you the most? I think I'm inspired by everyone in my life. Like I'm so inspired by my parents. Like my mom came from Argentina and she's living her best life now, and like my dad, he's dealt with like so many things and he's still like the happiest, like best person in the world. And I'm inspired by my boyfriend. Like he is the best like time management person. He's the kindest person. Like people love him. I'm inspired by like my best friends. Like I'm inspired by everyone in my life. Like everyone, like different aspects of every person is what I would aspire to be. I cut out the name for this one too, I'm sorry. But they ask, are you still a student and do you have some tips on how to avoid toxic people? So I am still a student. I graduate though in the fall. I have one class left. And how do I stay away from toxic people? I'm a very much like instinct kind of person. Like my first instinct when I meet someone is the one that I go with. Like if I don't get the right vibes off of you, I'm done. Like I just, because I've just been bitten too many times. Like every time I avoid my instinct, something happens where I'm like, yeah, I should have just listened to myself. So instincts. And you can also just, I don't know, I think that it's not a problem like if you start to like be friends with someone and you realize that they do things that like you don't agree with, that like they're things that you wouldn't do. And I don't think it's a problem to cut them off after that, because you shouldn't have to like sacrifice your own like morals just to stay friends with someone because you feel bad about it. Amelia asks, how do you get out of reading slumps? I kind of talked about this, and how do you keep the inspiration to read? Just mostly finding new favorite books is my inspiration, and then reading slumps, I read the books that I already love. Wendy asks, do I have plans to meet Sarah J. Maas? Yes, I love Sarah J. Maas. I love her so much. Like, I want to meet her so badly, and I bought tickets for her tour for Kingdom of Ash, and I was literally in tears when the VIP tickets like slipped out of my fingers when they were there and the site crashed, and it did it twice, and then they were gone. So I don't think I actually get to meet her. I just get to like see her, which is depressing, but I'm sure there's gonna be more times. I just want to see her. Cayman asks, Kale, Dorian, or Rowan? Okay, I would have automatically said Rowan if I hadn't been doing my reread right now, but Dorian is just the angel baby that I never knew he was until this reread. Like, he is so perfect and I love him. So it's definitely a tie between them, but I guess like if I were to date one of them, it would probably be Dorian. Patricia asked, when did you get your first cat? A year ago, really. I got him, it was T'Challa, and I got him in like March of 2017. MC asked, what fictional world would you want to live in that is not Harry Potter? I like the world of Strange the Dreamer. Like, particularly the world of Weep, I think would be very, very gorgeous. Julia asks, why did I become a reader? My dad put books in my hands. Like, he really wanted me to be a reader, and when it clicked really well for me. Like, once I found the books that I wanted, I was definitely there. Victoria asks, what do you feel when you read something you really want to? I feel like the happiest little person in the world. Like, it's just like, I don't know, just extreme happiness. Anna asks, if you were to be remembered for what would it be and why? That's hard. I guess I want to be remembered by my books. Like, I want people to, like, if I ever get published and everything, I want people to be able to remember me by my books and be like, that's fantastic. Like, I don't know, I just want to be a good author. Yeah, I'm not sure. I've never really put a lot of thought into that. Naira asks, how many books do you own and how many are you on your TBR? I have no idea. We'll figure it out one day, I swear. Robin asks, favorite audiobooks? A Stranger Dreamer is a really good audiobook. Personally, I really liked Name of the Wind, but I don't know if that's just because it was like one of my first ones. Ooh, The Diviners. The Diviners is a great audiobook. Yeah, that's all I can think of for right now. I'll make a whole video on it one day. Krista asks, what are your favorite summer reads? There's not any particular book that I read in the summer. I do feel like contemporary is like the kind of books that I should be reading. I just manage not to. Katja asks, what book got me into reading? I think you guys know the answer by now. Just 1996 asks, favorite childhood books. The Aesop's Fables. That's definitely something I totally relate with my childhood. Also, a series of unfortunate events, and the Magic Treehouse books. Rebecca asks, how do you get yourself out of a reading slump? Answered. Charlie asks, what is a common denominator for all your favorite books, or do you have different reasons that you love them? Actually, a pretty common denominator is I really like a very like badass, strong female like character that like saves the world. I think that's like a very common denominator in almost every single book I read. There's some that don't have that aspect and that I still love for different reasons. I like really beautiful worlds. I love really well-explained magic systems. I love a good love story. Yeah. Crusty Hobbit. That's a funny name. Asks, is there a book that you expected to love but just didn't? There was plenty of those. The Fallen Kingdoms books is like my main example just because it has all the elements of something that I would probably love and I just didn't like them at all. Colleen asks, what is your favorite book because of BookTube? I never would have picked up Strange the Dreamer, so that's definitely one. Oh, Nevernight. I never ever would have picked up Nevernight and that would have been a waste. Justina asks, what is that made you want to start on BookTube? This has been answered a couple times. Undeniably Book Nerdy asks, if you could just pick any author to go book shopping with, who would it be and why? I already said I would have dinner with Sarah J. Maas, so I guess I should pick another author to go book shopping with, but I feel like it would still be Sarah J. Maas. But if I had to pick a different author, Leigh Bardugo, because I love her books a lot too. Mariana asks, favorite book series and least favorite? Throne of Glass, Fallen Kingdoms. Favorite? Not favorite. Kathy asks, if you had to choose one book to recommend to everyone, what would it be and why? I'm sounding like a broken record at this point, but probably Throne of Glass. But if you want to hear something else, probably Nevernight. Hind asks, what is your favorite bookstore? I only have a Barnes & Noble where I live. Like, my city is not big on reading, I guess. So that's what I'm gonna have to go with. It's definitely not my favorite though, but that's what I'll go with. I used to love Borders. Borders was my all-time, and then it closed down. Gabrielle asks, what is your top 3 to 5 favorite animals? Dogs, like all dogs. Well, big dogs. Wolves, tigers, panthers, dolphins? Sophia asks, is there any book that changed your life? I'm sure there are, I just can't think of it off the top of my head, and this video is getting very, very long. I'm sorry. Leela asks, what is your favorite underrated book that you'd recommend? I don't read underrated books, guys. I really need to, but I don't, so I don't have one. I'm so sorry. Nicole asks, what is the #1 book you recommend that people have to read in their lifetime? That's a lot of pressure. I don't think there is any one book that I so far like know of that I would recommend. Probably Harry Potter. Bright Yellow Book asks, what is your favorite villain and who is your favorite villain and why? I honestly don't know. I really need to think about that. Oh my god, guys, I still have so much to go. Okay, I think my cameras have actually, the battery is dying, dead. So I will see you later on tonight with the answer to who is my favorite villain, so. Hey everyone, I'm in a different outfit and I look pretty different, but that's because it's the next day. So I decided to actually split up my Q&A video because I started the editing last night when I couldn't film because my camera battery had died, and it's very, very long. So I had to make a little outro clip for you guys saying that this is gonna be the end of part 1 and that part 2 shouldn't be coming up too much later. It should be up by the end of the week, if anything. But yeah, so I guess you're just gonna have to hold on to the suspense of figuring out what my favorite billet is. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and again, the 2 winners, please leave your comment down below with an email or a way to contact you. And yeah, I'm so excited. Thank you guys so much for this opportunity. Also, I wanted to say I woke up today and actually checked my channel and I have 7,000 subscribers, and I'm so shocked, guys. This video is for 2,500 and I'm at 7,000, and I'm just like so grateful to you guys. And yeah, you're fantastic. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you in the part 2. Bye!